Good morning. How you doing?
I'm pretty tired actually.
Yeah,
Uh, I
I'm pretty
think
tired too.
I think the longer I have a child, the longer I'm tired for is basically the ratio.
Just a bad night or a bad couple nights.
It's actually been getting better, but it's just, chronic sleep deprivation that just wears down on you.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's 10 a.m. for you?
yep.
Yeah.
So I've been up since around 6,
Oh, okay.
after going to bed at a little bit after midnight. So, just, less than 8 hours sleep for 2 years. Uh,
You at least that's been punctuated with a few periods of
yeah, I've gotten a
yeah.
few moments of rest. Uh,
Yeah.
and so uh, I've tried to stop doing co-sleeping in the past week. So he's actually gotten really good at night where I can lay him down for bed. I told you how we had that little L-shaped corner, and I could just go play a video
Mm.
game or whatever. So he's now comfortable with the fact that he tells me to go sit around the corner, and I do, and then he basically just tries to go to sleep immediately. So I can just get out of the room within like 2 minutes.
Nice.
So now that he's started doing that, where he's like just kind of going to sleep fairly quickly, I've just stopped going in later on at night. So
Mm.
he's made it mostly through the night for the past 3 nights now. We put him to bed at around 7:30, 7:45 at night,
Yeah.
and then he comes in anywhere between 5 and 6:30 to wake us up in the morning.
So, you have him in like a toddler bed, I guess.
In like a Japanese futon on the floor.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, we never have to worry about him like rolling out of the
Yeah.
bed or anything.
Very good, very good. Yeah, we've regressed somewhat.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. We had a sweet deal going, but I don't know. Uh, she likes to uh, wake up and then just like I don't know. She'll like roll over on top of me and start screaming at me to pick her up and carry her around. And it's the most like I don't know jarring way to wake up. like
I
like before she'd
imagine.
kind of wake up and start talking to you or poking you or whatever. But I don't know what it is lately. It's like I don't know phase or like I think she's been kind of sick, so she wakes up with like kind of like a snotty throat. So she wants to
Yeah,
be I think she wants to be vertical, but then she's also
right.
super tired. So if I pick her
Yeah.
up and just stand there with her, that uh, satisfies that. It's not too fun, honestly.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting because like we've been co-sleeping him with him for so long that now that that's just suddenly stopped, he got a little bit confused. So like the first day he woke up, he came in and it's like he wasn't sure about waking us up, so he just kind of like stood at the head of the bed next to Andrea for like quietly and just like stared at her because I don't know, he's just like trying to figure out what's going on, and Andrea's like baby in radar went off and she woke up as soon as he entered the room, but she just continued to pretend to be asleep. So
Nice. I was gonna say, are you guys also confused? Like, there's no kid here. What do we do?
no, I've been running on empty for so long that basically as soon as I lay down, I can go to sleep now. So
Yeah, having a kid has kind of done that for me too. I used to be a very poor sleeper.
yeah,
Now I'm a poor sleeper on the other end. Like I wake up in the morning and it's like I don't know. I can't get back to sleep,
yeah,
which
I,
traditionally it's
I,
been the other way. I can't get to sleep at night, and then it doesn't matter if I wake up in the morning. I can go back to sleep really well. So
yeah, nice. So getting off of the baby topics, have you gotten a chance to play anything recently? It's been a little while since we last chatted.
yes, actually, I finally finished Gargoyle's Quest.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so I recently had a little, as you I think know,
Birthday
uh,
party.
a birthday party. No, a little trip, business related trip. So I brought my Game Boy Pocket and my DS and finished Gargoyle's Quest finally after like a year. Great game, really. Well, considering it's a fairly early original Game Boy game, for the era, it was a lot of fun, I thought. And then finished that and started. I don't know if you're aware of the game Hotel Dusk.
Doesn't ring a bell actually.
So it's it came out within the first year or so of the Nintendo DS release. Um, and what that means is that, of course, it's like full of like gimmicks that make use of like the Nintendo DS uh, and its weird little features, like
Yeah.
closing the system at certain times and blowing on things and like the touchscreen. But it's okay. It's kind of a fun game. I mean, it's one that's been on my list forever. It's one of those kind of like uh, mystery adventure games. I tend to
Right.
like those. I guess slightly similar to Deja Vu, to use a
Okay.
really old example.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then there's like a touch screen, and you're like, but there's a lot of weird tasks they have you do. Like you'll have like you'll find a key somewhere, so you have to pick it up, and then you'll have to use the key on a door. So you'll like literally drag the key into the doorknob. Like there's like kind of mundane tasks they make you do, but it's like
Right.
I don't know, they're showing off the awesome DS technology or something. But it's interesting because it's meant to be really like I don't know, like film noir, old style 1930s comic booky or something. So like all the characters are in this, they're all drawn in this like sketchy, like pen style in black and white. Um, so I
Yeah,
don't know,
I'm,
it's
I'm
kind of
looking at
fun.
some of the artwork right now. It seems kind of neat.
Yeah, it was neat. It was neat. It was cool when it came out, or I thought at the time anyway. So I'm just finally getting to it. But the whole game, apparently, I've looked it up. There's 10 chapters. It's about 15 hours. I put about 8 hours in, and I just got to chapter 5. So maybe I'm slow, but just to have put that much time into a game is kind of an accomplishment these
Epic.
days for me. So yeah, that's me. How about you?
Nice. I don't remember where we left off last time.
You were
But
talking about playing Persona
yeah,
3?
yeah. So I beat
4?
Valkyria Chronicles a long time ago.
Yes.
And then yeah, I've been playing Persona 4, which is I like the game a lot in some ways, but I really think that the one hit kill method of game over can definitely suck sometimes. Uh,
Hotel Dust has kind of that in it too, where like it's just like deja vu. You turn the wrong corner and you die, kind of foolishness.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually I remember liking those games on the Nintendo. There was Shadowgate, there was Deja Vu,
Yeah.
and Uninvited.
Yeah.
And I remember liking those, and I don't know if it's just because those styles of games were too difficult or what. I'm surprised it's a genre that's not more prominent on like tablets and stuff.
As am I. I've for a while felt like it's kind of a underutilized system because they are interesting. I don't know if you've played the original Deja Vu like on
No,
like
just the
Mac.
Nintendo ones.
Yeah, so Nintendo, that era, you had this tendency. We saw a lot of games like, say, SimCity or whatever, like these computer games that were originally these very silent, like desktop games, get adapted to Nintendo and get these like awesome soundtracks and arguably really cool, like kind of 8-bit, I don't know, aesthetic applied to them. And I always preferred the Nintendo versions. So like, if you've played Deja Vu on Macintosh, yeah, it's cool, but it's definitely not as memorable as the Nintendo one with like the really cool soundtrack and or Shadowgate, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe going back, if you maybe it's the silence and it's kind of a buzzkill for the genre or something.
Yeah, no, it's kind of interesting because so Shadowgate's actually been in my head fairly recently because there's the music when you die in that's like uh I I can't remember it well enough to just hum it off the top of my head right now, but it's very similar to some music that's in Persona 4.
Okay.
So like every time you go into, there's a place called the Velvet Room where you like build your personas and stuff, and the
Mm.
music's like do 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 do
Yeah.
do, and it's like so similar to the Shadowgate death music that I was like, man, I should play Shadowgate again.
Nice, nice. I was like the very first, like when you're standing outside the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I forget what the story was behind that. Do you just like spun? Wasn't there like a wizard that like teleports you there or something, and then you just have to figure out how to open the door,
I don't remember. I feel like you showed up on your own accord to do something.
or you like had amnesia or something?
Was that Deja Vu was Amnesia? Shadowgate was like a wizard, and for some
And then
reason it's
uninvited was like you had a car accident.
yeah. So Uninvited is the one I haven't actually played through.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't beat that one.
Okay.
I remember beating both Shadowgate and Deja Vu, but I don't. Maybe it was just because there weren't any strategy guides or anything that I wasn't able to get through uninvited at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those
Um.
games were kind of brutal because it's like you have to pixel hunt a little bit to find items sometimes, and then
Yeah. And
figuring out the abstract way to combine items together.
and Deja Vu was kind of worse for the whole like, oh, you took a wrong turn, you're
Yeah,
dead, like silly, uh, pre-scripted deaths or whatever. But
yeah. It's like you're not supposed to get to the police station and unless you come from like the right side of the screen or
yeah.
something.
No, I think there was a manhole beside the police station, and
Yeah.
if you yeah. And the police station was funny too. Yeah, I kind of remember you had to like collect evidence to prove uh, a crime, and if you went to the police station too early without enough evidence, they just arrest you instead.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's of course one of those things where like, if I remember correctly, you don't know if you have enough evidence. So you have some new item, so you walk up to the police station, like save it or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you save or was it passwords? I don't even remember that. I think you saved.
I'm pretty sure you could save it.
Yeah, and then you try the police station. Nope, they arrested me. Okay, wander around for more evidence. Come
Yeah.
back. Okay, try the police station. Nope, not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
I
it,
uh, I definitely preferred Shadowgate. I like Deja Vu, but
I felt like Deja Vu I was able to solve entirely on my own. And Shadowgate, I think we were like super, super close, but there's like a staff and a blade that you're supposed to combine together to beat the boss of the game, and that just never occurred to me to combine the two items together.
yeah, I remember at the getting kind of stuck at the end. I don't know if it was that, but there's like what is it? There's like to get to the room that has the boss in it. There's like some thing, and you have to have three items and put them in the different holes in the
Yeah,
wall or something. I don't really remember,
yeah,
but it was like one thing I was missing, and it just had to walk back and forth through the whole game to find everything. And Shadowgate, of course, if your torches ran out, you died, right?
yeah,
So a lot of like saving and reloading and making sure you had the torches or whatever.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was like it was beat the clock to solve the puzzles that are like
Yeah.
abstract. Actually, you know what it was? I remember exactly what the puzzle was that I never solved on my own.
Hmm.
And that was uh, there's the room with the Sphinx on it in it,
Hmm.
and on the staircase is a picture of like a switch combination, and then there's like a room elsewhere where it's like a chain going into like a bottomless pit or whatever, and there's some switches, and I never noticed the little picture of the switches on the Sphinx room, but that's like the combination for the other room.
I kind of remember that. I think the Sphinx doesn't the Sphinx like block your way? So there's like kind of two puzzles in one. Like you have to like
Yeah,
somehow get him to let you go.
yeah.
And
In a lot
so
of those, in a lot of those later sections, there was multiple puzzles per room. So
yeah, and then that made it really easy to miss stuff because
yeah,
you'd come to a room and be like, well, I'm not missing anything here because I've already done what I need to do. Obviously, there's this here, and it's not like a
yeah,
room that you never really understood. So there must be something left to do. Yeah,
yeah.
that was tricky. That was tricky.
That
Yeah.
is, it's interesting because a game like that, there's no replay value in it. Uh, like once you've figured out all those puzzles, there's just no real point to ever picking that up a second time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Well,
there's a game there's a game that's just come out recently. I haven't had a chance to play it, but it's called Nier Automata.
okay.
Are you aware of it?
No, no.
Oh, well, it's a game that is getting very good reviews. I think it was published by SquareSoft, but it's kind of like Chrono Trigger in that there's multiple endings.
I'm looking at it
Uh,
now. Okay.
and I guess it's getting a lot of praise on Twitter and stuff because it's like every time you get a new ending, it like adds a new layer of depth into the game. So
Hmm.
I don't know, like even the indie community, which is traditionally like aghast at the idea of playing a AAA game, seems to be loving it. So
Apparently, it's a sequel to Nier, which is a spin-off of the Drakengard series.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh, I'm. This stuff looks cool, but hmm.
yeah. I haven't played any of the series at all, but
Yeah.
I don't
I'll
know.
add it to
It's
my list.
it's getting enough hype that it's on my to
Caught
buy
your
list when
eye.
it comes down in price.
Yeah. Um, I was just gonna say back to these uninvited and deja vu and so forth. These games were all the same company too, huh?
Yep.
Infocom or whatever.
Yep.
Uh, it's just like no one ever really mm, took the challenge upon themselves to kind of make competing type of titles or something. I don't know, or maybe they did and it just never flew, or I'm just unaware of it or something.
Mm.
I mean, especially in Japan, you have that. It's a fairly popular genre that they call visual novels or whatever, right? This kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
adventure game, but they're very like the Japanese style is very. I don't know. It's different, kind of, right? Like I liked Deja Vu's puzzles and like finding items and stuff. I mean, it could be frustrating, but I find that the Japanese version of the Japanese take on this tends to, not always, but tends to be very like, I don't know, straightforward or something. It's just very
Yeah, I mean
guided
the
experience.
yeah the only one I remember trying one at one point, and it seemed like it was effectively a novel. Like
Yeah, literally, like it's just like here you go, here's the
like that's
story,
why it's
click
called a
thing.
visual novel. It's like the only progression was just clicking to make sure that the text went to
Yeah,
the next line of dialogue.
very common, very common. Actually, back to Hotel Dusk, that's it's not that bad. It really isn't, but it's a little, well, maybe a lot more guided than I would have liked. It's kind of got that legacy, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah. So
So we have, I don't believe, mentioned the Switch a single time in our podcast.
I don't remember. I maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't think we've discussed it a single time.
Candidly, we've discussed it multiple times outside the podcast. But
Yeah. And so I'm curious, why has this not come up? And and uh, what does that say about your desires to buy one?
um, let's see. Uh, honestly, um, kind of just the way my life is right now with job related changes and so forth, just kind of making me busy. So I've been off the whole like uh, make big purchases train. But outside of that, I would love to get one. I'm just less willing to make sacrifices to do so than I had been. And by that
Yeah.
I mean, like, for example, when we came out, it was like, oh, let's just go to Walmart at like 12 and line up, no problem. Now, obviously, with babies and stuff, a little bit harder to do things like that, and it's been required, at least around where I live, uh, to do that. Actually, interestingly, uh, last night I got an email from Toys R Us saying the Switch is back in stock starting tomorrow. So I called a few Toys R Us stores to see how many they would have, because last time we became aware that Toys R Us would have them, we were told they'd have 10 specifically. I think, did I
Yeah.
tell you this? And Key actually went and tried to pick one up for me, and she went at like, I don't know, 6. They open at 9, I think. And there was of course 10 people with like backpacks and sleeping bags and stuff like lined out, and it's just like, oh. So it's just I don't know. Maybe I'm at that age where I'm not willing to make those sacrifices. But once it does become more widely available, I would love to grab one. So
That's part of it for me. Is that I think we kind of went through this during the Nintendo Mini fiasco
yeah,
last year, right? It's like
yeah.
we already got our hopes up with this new console, and like seeing the incredible shortage of it is just like whatever. I can wait. I've got enough other things to do right now.
Yep, that's it. That said, obviously Zelda's the big ticket title. I've been kind of
Yeah,
uh,
you have a Wii U, don't you?
yeah, I could, of course, just buy the Zelda game. I don't know. It would. I, I am interested enough in the Switch that it might be kind of just fun to have that Zelda, right? I mean, it'd be
Yeah,
the same one that everyone else is playing. So if there was weird potential glitches, I'd see the same things, or if there are differences, um, you know, I just kind of want to have the latest, if you will.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Interesting.
yeah. I moved a couple Zelda games up on my list just to, I guess, catch up, so to speak. I mean, I wouldn't if I got the Switch, I'd just hop into that Zelda. But I don't know if you've played Spirit Tracks.
I did, and I honestly can't remember anything about it.
I've also I bought it when it came out and just kind of play tested it really quick and didn't have a great initial impression, but whatever, right? I decided I'm probably gonna go back to it, so I moved that up. I was actually intending to start that right after Hotel Dusk. The only reason I put Hotel Dusk ahead of it is because it seemed like a short enough game that I could finish it quickly. So, and I'm about halfway through it, so it's actually next on the list. I'm still trying to beat FTL. The thing with FTL, I think I said this last time, is it's not. Again, maybe I just suck at it, but like I can get to the boss pretty consistently. I just keep dying.
The boss is pretty hard. Like you have to have properly
Yeah,
geared up in order to
strategized
beat it.
for that boss battle, right?
Yeah,
So there's which I kind of think sucks. Like you could pick a certain ship that has a certain strategy to it to get through things. So like if you pick the ship that's good at cloaking, you
yeah,
can you can like customize your weapons and stuff and just kind of be clever about it and basically cloak all the time with the right timing and make it through the game. And it's kind of like, hey, that was fun. It was a different approach to this.
yeah,
I took a different strategy, but none of that matters once you get to the boss because if you don't have adequate defenses against the boss's multiple attacks, you simply
yeah, yeah,
lose. Right? So I
yeah,
mean, I get there with kind of a skeleton crew, and then there's that one phase of the boss fight where they like suddenly beam on
yeah, yeah,
10
yeah,
guys and you're just dead, right? Like you have to basically no matter what, you have to arrive at the boss with this well-balanced ship
yeah,
and that's it. So I don't know. I'll probably keep playing it until I finally beat it and then I think I'll move on. I'm not going to like get every achievement or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I certainly didn't get every achievement.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I beat it on. Mind you, this was the original version, so I'm pretty sure I beat it on both difficulties.
Well, they've
Um,
since added a hard, or at least there's
yeah,
a hard now if there wasn't for you before.
no, there wasn't hard
Yeah.
originally, and I don't think I'm gonna go back to it anytime in the near
Yeah.
future. Um,
I mean, I like the game. It's just it's not without some things I do dislike very much.
yeah, yeah. So you were saying that you've got a couple of Zeldas up on your list. Which ones haven't you played yet?
Spirit Tracks and believe it or not, I can't remember the name of it.
Twilight Princess.
Yes, yes.
I
And
I own that on the GameCube, and I've only played it for about an hour.
hmm, not
I
impressed or
played
no
through the
time.
very first dungeon, and that was it.
I yeah, same for me. I mean, I think it was when it came out, everyone was so excited about it, and I played it a bit, but I didn't. I just kind of play tested it, so to speak. So
Mm.
yeah. Lately, this is another conversation we've had, but I just find it a lot easier to play mobile games because when I get some time, it's like, oh yes, awesome, and I'm on the bus or I'm on like
Yeah.
a trip somewhere, I'm in a hotel, so I mean, just pull out the Game Boy and go, right? It was actually really weird, actually, kind of pulling out the Game Boy Pocket to finish Gargoyle's
Yeah.
Quest because I've been playing it on Super Game Boy, so that was like legitimately the first time I've actually used my original Game Boy in, geez, a decade or something.
Yeah.
So, but I beat it. I finished it.
It's fun. I've got two original Game Boys here, and my kid found them yesterday and was like super excited to try and play them. And I was like, "Oh, these actually don't have any batteries in them right now." So,
Awesome. Nice. Yeah.
uh, but yeah, so I guess that was. I have no idea what I'm trying to say here. Uh,
We were talking about Zelda. I think we were gonna talk about console purchases today.
yeah. So I guess the Zelda thing is one thing that I was trying to go back to is so when I got Twilight Princess, um, I didn't have a Wii or Wii U,
Hmm.
whatever it was coming out on. So I have it on GameCube.
Right.
Um, and when I saw how amazingly well this Zelda game is doing right now, I was like, you know what? I think now's the best time to buy a Wii U. I should buy a Wii U, and then I can get the new Zelda game. And
Hmm.
then I'll also have access to the whole backlog of Wii games that I've never had access to.
Ah, because you don't have a Wii.
No,
Okay.
I don't have a Wii or a Wii U.
Unlike the
So,
rest of the world that ran out and bought the Wii, and then the Wii U is not that good an investment. For
yeah.
you, it's the one to buy.
Yeah, it's like if I were
Right.
to get that right now, what is it? I've got a list here of so I made a list the other day of like if I were to buy a Wii U, what games could I play for it? And so suddenly I've got access to Donkey Kong Country Returns, Kirby Epic Yarn, New Super Mario Bros., The Last Story, Xenoblade Chronicles, Skyward Sword, Sonic Colors, Mario Galaxy, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario 3D World, Super Smash Bros., Wind Waker HD, Mario Kart 8, and Pikmin 3.
Mario Maker, if that's your thing.
I think I'd rather just actually make a game, personally.
Mario Maker for me actually uh, was more about playing other people's cool levels
Yeah,
than me like being like, wow, I'm making stuff. That was my experience. It was just fun to like. One thing you can do is like make a game, so it'll spin off a game. It'll like just build 10 levels for you, and you have to sit down and play them. And it
yeah,
knows how hard each level is based on like statistics. Like if most people take 20 tries to beat this level, it'll be considered hard. So you
right.
actually get this difficulty progression. Um,
Okay.
anyway, if you could pick it up for cheap, you'd probably enjoy it. But nice list. That's kind of interesting.
It's like a big list of stuff that if I were to get this console right now, then that would increase my backlog by that many games.
Well, uh, that's so. I mean, obviously, if you bought a Switch, you'd be buying it essentially for Zelda, right?
Yeah,
Um,
or
but
one
if
two switch.
yeah, or so it's kind of an interesting way to look at it, I guess. I don't know. Are we used like reasonably cheap these days?
Well, that's the thing is like I could go onto the Nintendo website and I could get a refurbished one for I think 240 Canadian.
Hmm.
Uh, but like right now is probably the time that it's going to be the cheapest.
Hmm.
Like they've stopped manufacturing them, so
Yeah.
they're only going to become harder to find.
Yeah.
Uh, so I feel like if I am ever going to buy one now, might be the best time to do it. So it's kind of frustrating because it's like I'm an adult, I earn it money and I can buy these things. But when you look at how massive my backlog is already, and you look at how little time I have to do anything, it's like it's kind of frustrating to consider buying this thing that I'm not going to have time to use.
That's my life, man. That's like I can actually address the whole question very succinctly. I mean, generally, I'm nerdy enough that I just kind of want all these consoles, so it's not a
Yeah,
big process for me. I just want to have everything. But I guess if I was to reframe the question, like what would make me buy a console before it's like 10 years old and really cheap or something, um, it would have to be like some game I really feel like I'm missing out on, or a few games.
yeah,
These games would have to be good enough or important enough that they're going to obviously skip up and jump over some other games that are on my to playlist,
mm,
which is not that common, right? I'll see some cool games and think, okay, yeah, this is interesting. Maybe I'll play this someday, and then forget about it. Is kind of what I tend to do. Whereas like
yeah,
Zelda. It's I don't really tend to care about what other people are doing, but it is kind of fun when all your friends are excited about it, and you can
Yeah.
like 10 years from now be like, remember when Zelda came out and everyone was crazy about it? That was really fun, actually. You know what I mean? Just little things like that. So
Yeah,
for me,
yeah.
that kind of thing, I guess, makes me want to maybe buy consoles. So that's what it would be with the Switch, right? Like I
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
have colleagues that have one. I don't know how they pulled that off, but uh, especially my like previous engagement, I had a couple colleagues who would always be talking about them every day, and we'd have these long conversations about a game I haven't played, and it's like, it'd be cool to have
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
So
it's I don't know, it was easier in the past cuz like I worked in film and just nobody talked about video games at all. But now that I'm in the games industry, like everyone talks about games, and like the people that are working in AAA games are typically not the people that are playing indie games.
hmm
They're excited about AAA games. So
right.
it's like I'm sitting there and I'm playing like, you know, Valkyria Chronicles or Ultima or whatever from like a long time ago, and everyone else is like trying the
Yeah.
latest Nier game or the latest Zelda or
Well, I'm sure there's other
so I
dissidents amongst your ranks. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
always had this. You would have a better idea, but I always had this thought that like it seems like probably everyone wants to make their own game, and you like all these people want to secretly quit this big company
Yeah.
one day and do their own thing. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying it's like I'm at a point now where I'm growing increasingly aware of the AAA games that are coming out and interested in buying them and
Hmm.
trying them.
That's
Uh,
probably a benefit to your development as like a game
yeah,
content creator or whatever to kind of have that perspective as well. I would think.
yeah, totally. So like I ended up like bumping a bunch of games off of my to-do list that I had made in January and like replacing it with others. So
Hmm.
like there's going to be the new Middle Earth Shadow War game coming out this summer, and I was like, man, that looks awesome. Okay, I better play the first one. So,
Right.
uh, yeah. So
Cool.
and I ended up buying Witcher 3 as well because that's been like across the board getting such good reviews that I'm like, okay, I need to try this one. So
Have you actually played it? That's been.
no, I bought it. It was on sale for like half off a little like a month ago or so. So I bought it, but I want to finish the two games that I'm playing first before I start a third one.
Hmm. I kind of cut you off. What are those two games? Back when we were
So
talking about
so
them.
I think I'm like halfway through Persona 4 right now.
Right.
I think I'm about halfway through Suikoden 2 as well.
Ah, okay. Cool, cool. Are you replaying that, or is that a new
No,
one?
no.
Huh. Cool. I thought you were big on that series, or was it just the first game that you had?
I played the first one for the first time last year.
Okay.
Uh, and I think that maybe the last podcast that I mentioned Suikoden 2, you also had the same misconception.
I do remember you talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was supposedly like one of the best RPGs of all time according to Jason Schreier over at Kotaku. So he's praised it enough times that it convinced me when it went on sale to on the PSN to buy it. Because it
So,
used to be such a rare game. It's like if you wanted to buy it, it was like
mm,
$200 on eBay. And so they finally released it on the PSN for like $9, and I was like, okay,
a
time to
little bit.
consider this as an option.
Right. Would you echo his sentiments?
Um, it's hard to say. You know, the time that it did come out, it probably was amazing, but there's definitely some traits of the mid '90s RPG or late '90s RPG that um, don't hold up as well as they used to.
Got it.
I think I mentioned like the fairly early on in the game, I get to like wander around pretty much wherever I want on the world map, and you just can't do anything.
Mm.
So then you eventually have to wander back to the first town, and you're like, oh, what am I even supposed to be doing anymore? Or like
Mm.
you scroll too past from some of the story, and then you just there's nothing telling you what you're supposed to do next if you miss that one sentence.
Right.
Uh, so it had some interesting ideas though. Like it's like a Final Fantasy game or whatever, where you've got your party and you have random combat. But then it's also got these moments where it's like Fire Emblem, and you like have an army and you're having a tactical combat.
So the gameplay is actually different for those two.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what sucks about that is that, I've played a lot of games like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics or whatever, and they just do that fight way better than Suikoden does.
Right.
But it's still a very interesting concept that you get to do that in Suikoden.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's got some very cool elements to it. I am enjoying the game.
Cool. You're playing it on PSP.
PSP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I literally when I got a PSP, I got the Symphony of the Night
Yeah.
for it and just unlocked the
You
uh,
got Symphony of the Night or you got Dracula X?
see, I don't even remember what was it 10 years ago, whatever it was. And I thought it was Symphony of the Night.
Well, because you can buy Dracula X and then Symphony of the Night is an unlockable in the game.
So, okay, yes. So, okay, hold on. So, Dracula X is the remake of the PC Engine game that was
Right.
ever released, right? Yeah, okay. I played it and unlocked because you can unlock the original PC Engine one, not the like upgraded
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And I unlocked that and then beat the original, not the remake, and then just put the PSP away for like 10 years.
So, yeah, I did kind of the same thing where I bought that version and then I unlocked the original version and that was the version that I played. But then
Yeah.
I found out you could also unlock Symphony of the Night in it, and it's the Saturn version. So
Ah.
so then I unlocked that and played through it.
Did you finish Dracula X?
Not the new version, but the original version. Yeah.
Yeah. That had some tough levels later on.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember anymore because I've played so many of the Castlevanias. I feel like Dracula himself was difficult, but maybe I'm actually confusing that with the very original Castlevania.
Well, that was definitely difficult.
Yeah.
The very original one. I think death was quite difficult if I remember correctly in this one. There's like a like ghost ship at sea kind of level, which is fucking awesome level. But anyway, you would once you get to the end, you're kind of on the like mast, and with all the like different like platforms you can hop on, and then death is just like he is in every game. This guy floating around like flinging things just everywhere, and it was a really tough
Yeah.
battle. I remember being stuck in that for a while. I remember at the time I had a really crazy long, like literally like hour and 40-minute commute on a train, and it was like super ideal for game time actually. So I beat the hell out of that game and then a few others.
I liked how in Castlevania 2, I'm pretty sure I'm not making this up, but I remember in Castlevania 2 being able to just walk right past death.
Um,
Like he was in the room before Dracula and you didn't have to actually fight him. You could just walk across the room and into
I
the room
think
with
so.
Dracula.
2 was full of those kind of quirks. Yeah. I'm remembering that actually. I believe that was 2, yes.
Yeah, so that seemed bananas. Um,
Uh, 2 was so weird though. There's like I don't even remember bosses in 2. Like there was I remember Dracula himself, but generally it would be just you just wander around and do stuff. It was cool,
yeah, I
but
don't
it
think
was
there were
really
any
weird.
bosses. That was like one of the first open world games, I guess.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess so. You could go right or left.
Yeah.
That was pretty open for the time.
Uh, yeah, that was. I don't know, that game had like some shittiness to it. Like it was. It's like one of those games that you'll just never beat if you don't follow a strategy guide.
Yeah.
Because just figuring out that you have to duck at the side of a cliff for 10 seconds is just not going to occur to anyone.
Well,
And,
I can see what they were trying to do because there is the hints sprinkled around everywhere. Those
but
books
the hints were just like complete lies half the time.
making
Like
it
they
impossible.
would
Yeah.
tell you to go to a forest that doesn't exist or something, and
Yes, as well. So I could see what they were trying to do, And the problems with it were exactly those were two things. First, the fact that there was so much misinformation trying to kind of trick you. It just became a frustrating experience.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, they could sprinkle hints in with like maybe just like flavor items that aren't really hints, but just give a history. Not like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
fake hint. But then also the hints just didn't suffice because it like everyone complains about what you're talking about, the having to kneel at the side of the like at the end of the dead end or whatever,
Yeah.
the cliffside. So there is some hint saying go there and wait, use the crystal or something, but you'd go there and be like, what the fuck do I do? Like I have
Yeah. How
what I
how
need.
do
Like
I use this
yeah, no
crystal?
one knows you need to kneel and sit there and like you'd have to kneel long enough that someone could easily try kneeling and be like, "Huh, this is not doing anything," and then stop, and then in their
Yeah.
mind they've tried that already and will never try it again,
Yeah.
and they're just stuck forever, right?
Interestingly, I went to a friend's house this week and we played Super Mario 3.
Okay.
And I think it's like the third level in the first world where there's the white blocks that you can crouch on and
Yep.
then get the flute.
Hmm.
And he had no idea. Like he said, he used to play the crap out of that game, and he's beaten it so many times. And he didn't know that there was three flutes in the game. He thought there was only two. Uh,
Wow.
and like
Really?
that's the same sort of thing, right? Like how are you going to figure out that by ducking on that thing for like 5 seconds you're going to fall through it? Like there's no reason for you to ever do that.
Yeah. At the very least, it's a that's so weird because that's one of those
It's
puzzles
one
or
of
whatever that everyone knew about
yeah.
somehow. I have no idea
Yeah.
how. It's just so well known. But at the very least, though, it's not a blocker, right? It's almost like an
Yeah.
Easter egg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I'm in no way against that. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I totally I understand that. It's like if you're gonna throw mechanics in there that are abstract, make it lead to like some sort of special bonus
Yeah.
or Easter egg or something. But
Yeah.
don't fucking block the path to completion.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe when I was playing Castlevania 2, I like used a guide or something because I remember these things, but I just don't really remember being
I
stuck on them.
definitely ended up using a guide, but
Yeah.
I still remember loving it before beating it. Like there was something about the flavor of like the
Yeah.
music and it changing day to night and
Yeah.
the
I
being
am
able to
I'm the same, very much, yes.
like that open world aspect and stuff and leveling up. Like everything about that game seemed super cool to me, except the misinformation.
Well, I love what they were trying to do, and now
Yeah,
it's easy to say, I see what they tried to do, but they didn't really do it. Let's play these other games. But like in like 1993 or something, where there's, that's the game that did that. Wow, that like there wasn't so much spread of information, and there wasn't so much variety in games. That was the game that did that for in my
yeah,
world anyway, right? So it was always a very very cool game to me. Plus,
yeah,
I don't know about you, but at the time when I get stuck in that kind of game, I like blame myself, right? Like, here's this awesome game and I can't beat it. What's going on? Nowadays,
yeah,
it's easy to be like, this game is broken. This game sucks. It doesn't guide the player, which everyone takes that dialogue. But when you're like a
yeah,
10-year-old, it's just like, I can't beat this really hard but really awesome game.
yeah,
Ends up like 20 years later, it was their fault. They made the game wrong. Right?
yeah. I think
Yeah.
I always blamed the developers for Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. Well, I mean that was you were signing up for an experience, and
Yeah,
yeah, um, yeah. I think I didn't enjoy Ninja Gaiden until much later, uh,
yeah,
and I don't know if it was because I wasn't good enough to beat it, or I think like it was probably kind of like my friend group didn't want that hard a game, and
yeah,
it just didn't fall on my plate in a way that made me enjoy it, I guess. Whereas later,
yeah.
that's exactly the kind of game I love. So
Yeah, that the Ninja Gaiden and Castlevania and stuff, that was like my college days.
yeah,
Was playing those.
Castlevania was my youth. Ninja Gaiden was like definitely my college days and beyond even.
Uh, I don't know if I played the original Castlevania until I was in college. Uh, I'd played 2 and 3 and Symphony of the Night.
That's interesting. Um, Symphony of the Night was a junior high game for me, which I think it
Yeah,
came out in like 96 or 97, so the timing is right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, okay. So I definitely played that one. And 3 was also a junior. I don't remember. It was definitely like we were playing it actively in high school for sure. So I definitely had played it. Yeah, I think Castlevania 1 and 2 were like my youth. 3 was later because I didn't have it when I was young. And the Super Nintendo one I remember actually. Did you play
Have
that
you?
when it came out?
Yes, but I
Yeah.
didn't beat that until college.
I didn't beat that until like yeah, quite recently actually. A few years ago. Um but what about the Genesis one?
I never played it.
Yeah, I've played it now, but I didn't like grow up with it. It's fun. It's cool.
I was in like a situation where like we would get to rent a game each weekend.
Hmm.
And I was always interested in renting that one, and my brother just always somehow managed to get his way and would rent like NHL 95 or some bullshit. And
Oh, shot to the heart, man.
I hated those sports games. I've never enjoyed them.
Oh my god, man. And
I think
like
Hit the Ice maybe I liked.
hit the I remember so like Madden is like the top selling title like every year and it's just like come on, man.
Uh, I think I liked Hit the Ice and Base Wars.
Base Wars. Yeah, Base Wars was awesome. Okay, there's okay. I hate baseball. Like I think it's the most obnoxious way to spend your time in the entire world and I can go on and on and on about this, but um I always like simulations. So
Yeah.
like there was a game called Baseball Stars on the original Nintendo. I don't know if you've played it.
No.
Yeah, it had a very strong like managerial aspect to it, where
Yeah.
like you had to like there's a lot of simulation and players would do different things and grow in different ways and you had to kind of push them in different ways and then like your team would have like I don't know I can't even remember baseball stuff but like a weak like bad defense so you have to like trade appropriately and uh, for an original Nintendo game it was surprisingly deep of a simulation, and I really enjoyed that. So I always like these games that kind of put a spin on stuff, or when they're highly simulated, I guess, or like the
Yeah.
simulation aspect's really strong. So Base Wars was cool because it was the spin, and then Baseball Stars had the simulation. And did you ever play Mutant League Football?
I don't think so.
Oh, they had Mutant League Football and Mutant League Hockey. They were awesome, actually. Like I'm not a football person, but it was cool
Yeah.
because like your whole team was mutants and there was different species and they'd have different strengths and stuff. Kind of like the different robots in Base Wars, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
And also kind of like in Base Wars, people would die. Like your mutant with you could do little weird tricks. You could like sneak a bomb onto the football and throw it, and then it would blow up when the if the other guy you'd like let the other team intercept it or whatever, and then their guy would literally just die, so they'd have to replace the player. And so it was in that way the simulation managerial thing was really interesting because you're like literally like it's almost like being at war or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
I
don't know.
don't get why stuff like that isn't being made right now.
I know that's I've taken this approach for a long time where there's just a lot of older games that it felt like these games could have served as the catalyst to like this whole new interesting genre or this whole new interesting approach to it's an interesting spin on some type of game
Yeah.
or something and then it just never went anywhere and I can see a lot of that actually like even from the Super Nintendo or PlayStation days where they just haven't gone and made that kind of game anymore.
Yeah.
And it made sense for a long time, like right before the whole kind of indie thing really exploded, where like people were always saying, oh, these big publishers they want to play it safe and blah 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 blah, and it felt great when the indie people came out and said we're doing all these new games, but no one's ever reopened some of those older, uh, you know, I don't know what you'd call them, semi genres or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
spins.
Oh my. Look at the
Yeah.
time.
Look at the time.
We've been talking for almost 50 minutes.
Yep. You I'll throw the question back at you. You never
Yep.
answered your own question you posed.
What
Makes
would
you
make me
want to
buy
buy
a
a
console?
console? Yeah.
Yeah,
Might
I
as
don't
well
know.
spend about 10 seconds on the topic we thought about.
Well, I mean, I kind of talked about it. Like
Yeah.
for me, I need to have the games that the library that makes it worthwhile. I'm a slow adopter on anything. Like when I buy a game, I find it very hard to be hyped up ever since I played Final Fantasy VIII. Uh, I was used to I played that I let myself get so hyped for that and then I was so disappointed with it. And then there's just been so much stuff with patches after day one of
Yeah.
release now that it's like it's hard for me to get hyped anymore.
Right.
So I tend to get hyped after a game's been out and people are talking about it in a positive light.
Right.
So I just don't tend to be an early adopter on anything. So something like the Switch right now, like the Zelda game, has been getting such positive reviews that that's made me pay attention to the Switch, where it was completely in my peripheral vision, I guess. Like, I guess it wasn't off my radar entirely, but I just wasn't focused on it at all.
Right.
Um, and so Zelda made me pay attention, but then when I realized that I could be playing that on the Wii U and it is getting just as good reviews for that, I was like, oh, well,
Cooled off a bit again.
Wii U has a library built up and it's somewhat affordable. Like, maybe this would make sense. Um, so I don't know. I think I tend to think like that, where like I never, I don't know.
Sure. No, that's it's an answer.
It's like it's at a point now. I don't know. In the past, I was always really concerned about money. Like we didn't have a tremendous amount growing up, so like anytime I got a console, it was like I think the Nintendo was a gift. My brother won a Super Nintendo, and then eventually he sold it, and I knew that I loved it, so I saved up and I bought one. But like when I got the PlayStation, that was secondhand. When I bought my GameCube, that was on like some crazy deal where like if you brought in 5 games, then you got it for free or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like I think GameStop was or EB Games was running a deal where like you could exchange games for it, and it was like dirt cheap. And so I
Yeah.
went to like Rogers, which was a game rental place in Ontario, and I like bought all their shitty games
And brought them in.
secondhand, and then I brought those in.
Awesome.
So I think I ended up getting my GameCube for like $80 or something,
Right.
uh, because I had to buy those used games first.
Got it.
Um, so I don't know. I've always tried to do stuff on the cheap, and I've never been an early adopter. So sometimes by the time I'm interested in getting something, the next generations come out or something, and
Right.
it's no longer appealing to get it. I feel like with Nintendo in particular, it's hard for me to care about a console when it comes out because I know they're inevitably going to do a better version of it in a couple years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ever since the Game Boy came out, they've been doing Game Boy Pockets or Game Boy Colors or Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, Nintendo DS, Nintendo DS XL or whatever, and
Yeah.
the Wii and the
DSi,
Wii U,
2DS.
and so
The DS XXL, is that a thing, or the second version, or whatever the hell they
yeah,
call it?
yeah, they've got something like that now, and the 3DS XL or something. I don't know. So for me, the Switch still isn't appealing because I know that in another year they're gonna have a Switch XL or something,
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
but now it's super appealing for the Wii U because I know that generation's over. I know it's only gonna get more expensive. I know it has a good library,
Got it.
so
It's funny that we exactly share that experience of Final Fantasy VIII.
it was such a shitty game.
I literally, I played Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I was so excited for 8, and so excited
Yeah.
for 8, and 8 came out, and it took me like 10 or 15 years to finally beat it, and that's it. I never got any farther into the Final Fantasies. Uh,
8 was the 8. Like, I remember buying every fucking game magazine that came out that had a feature on 8, and I remember playing the demo that came with Brave Fencer
yep,
Musashi,
yep.
and I think that's the first game that I ever did fan art for without having played it. And I played it, and I was just like, what?
I hate that game. I mean, I hate with a passion. It's one of those games that like almost soured me on like gaming or something. Like,
RPGs.
yeah, well, like as you say, like getting excited about new games and caring and assuming
Yeah,
that a sequel is good because the previous one was good and all those things. Like that game
it
was
it
such a heartbreak. That
it
was
it
like that was the Phantom Menace of games for me.
yeah, like legitimately that changed my perspective on hype. Uh, you know, I don't even like hyping our podcast to people on Reddit or whatever, right? Because it's like I want things to spread by word of mouth because it's good, not because a marketing department has convinced you that it's good before you've tried it.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was basically the turning point for me where I stopped buying game magazines. And I stopped watching movie trailers. Like when I go to see a movie, I try to avoid seeing any trailers for it too. Uh, we've got a babysitter and we're gonna go see Your Name tonight. Uh,
What are you seeing? Sorry.
Your Name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Really awesome.
So I mean, I've heard that that's a great film, and I literally know nothing about it other than it's got a good reputation and it's hand drawn animation. So I'm hoping I will enjoy it because of all the positive uh, word of mouth that's happened since it was released.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't even want to watch a trailer anymore and try to predict what I'm going to enjoy or not going to enjoy based off of the stuff that they put in trailers.
Yeah. Well, do let me know if you enjoy it. We almost saw it in November when we were in Japan.
Right.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I think it's just opened up in North America on Friday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think so.
all right.
All right then.
Okay. Well, I guess we should end it about 30 seconds ago when we had that silent pause. But yeah, let's stay in touch.
All right. Well, yeah. Until next time. Cheers.
Later.